Hello and welcome to the Happy Teaching Podcast. We are entering season 2 and I do not have any sort of actual reasoning behind why this is season 2 other than we are entering a new school year and it just feels right. We had a little gap, a little break as we got everyone settled in the P.L.A.Y course for the summer, a few weeks off the podcast, and then now it's coming back and we're starting a new school year and I'm like, season 2 feels right. So we are kicking off season 2. We've been here a year now in this podcast, which is so exciting. I'm excited. How many times could I say excited? So I guess I really am. I am looking forward to bringing you more episodes, 10 minutes or less. It's always our goal to just give you tips, strategies, encouragement in early childhood. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Today, we are going to talk about centers and center storage. Now, depending on if you're type A or type B, for me, talking about storage and organization, sometimes it sounds fun, but then I'm like, nah, that's not actually that interesting. I would rather plan the centers and be excited about what my students are going to do and maybe print them off and set them up in the room. But then when it comes time to actually put them away and store them for the next time we need them, that it kind of loses some of its appeal, right? Now, maybe you are more type A for lack of a better word, and you're like, that is what I love to do, right? Some of you probably love organizing. So that is why for this episode, I went back to one of our articles we have on the blog, and we'll link it for you below so you can see some pictures as well. We went to the community and asked teachers like you, because I know some of you love organizing, some of you are like me and maybe it's a little bit less interesting. So we wanted to gather ideas from other teachers on how you're organizing your centers when they're not in use. That way, we all can kind of hear ideas or see pictures and get ideas that fit our personalities a little bit more. Now, when centers are in use, maybe you're using free-flowing centers like me and many others. Maybe you're using a different kind of system right now. Free-flowing centers, I hope that you'll give it a try sometime. It is the best. We'll link P.L.A.Y course info. We're done for this year, but we'll make sure that you have the information below so that you can stay up to date on everything and make sure you're joining us when we have our next open round. But during centers, we seem to have a pretty good rhythm of how things are available to kids. But of course, when we're putting them away, where are they going and can we improve that? So we're going to talk about what we do with centers not in use. Okay, so a little bit more on that storage end. So we asked the community and we have our top 5 rounded up for you. So number 1, and it's not that glamorous, but it's really effective. And I like to do this because you figure, especially in pre-K and kindergarten, you have printed things, you've laminated, right? I mean, once we've laminated, we don't want to redo that. Those pieces we don't want to lose, we want to save them. So zip top bags, like good old Ziplocs, can be so helpful. You can also find probably on Amazon or even the dollar store, just anywhere, depending on where you're shopping, you might be able to find good deals on the ones that are a little more sturdy, that have that sliding zipper on top so they're not as flimsy as Ziplocs and they're more reusable and they last longer. Those can be really good if you get the larger ones, especially gallon size or bigger, at sliding in the pieces. If you have a picture of the activity, sliding that in the front, maybe even one copy of the recording sheet if they're large enough, then you can see everything that is included in that center and you can store it away. You could store it in a box, file cabinet, any of that. Now, I know that filing cabinets can be maybe they're a little archaic. I don't know, depending on how maybe your age and how long you've been teaching as you're listening to this. Maybe you're like, I love my file cabinet. Maybe you're like, what? People use file cabinets? It just depends, right? So much is digital now as far as storage goes, but I still really liked using a filing cabinet for these types of things where I already laminated it. I did the work. We know our kids are loving this hands-on work, hands-on activities. It's important. So this stuff didn't really get digitally stored, right? I could go print more if I needed, but I already had them prepped and ready. So a filing cabinet, I would take these Ziplocs or the pieces that were organized and it was a good spot to drop them. Okay, so if you had one, I had an ancient one in my room and I was like, I'll keep it in here, give it a try. And it did work pretty well if you still like to file or organize in certain ways by month or theme or anything like that. Okay, so if you have like the big old heavy filing cabinet beast in your room, maybe if there's space, consider keeping it a little bit longer. All right, next up, number 2 is digital and print storage. This is pretty common with a lot of us. I know it was for me because some things we know about most things are digital, right? And we don't need every last little thing, and we don't need to store every last paper. So sometimes, especially if you're in the Print and Play Club, you have the option to favorite things. So you can actually keep a list of things, or in your own, it's saved to your own account. So if you know like, oh, these are the resources I'm using right now, or the ones I always go back to, you can favorite them so they don't get lost on you. So then that means you don't need to save every last recording sheet. You might save the printed pieces, but you know that, oh, if I need more of this or that, or maybe there's a set of printables that you love to use each year, and they're just, printables, recording sheets. They don't need to be laminated. You can store those digitally. Maybe it's in your own drive, depending on what you're using. Maybe it's in the Print and Play Club. And then go back and print them as needed. You don't need to store them like maybe we did a long time ago, or maybe you remember other teachers doing where it was like every last paper was in a file. We can cut our storage in half when we do some of this digitally, and then some of it, like those laminated pieces and all of that, in physical form. So, right, then you can just grab those game pieces, go to your folders on your computer, and print what you need to go along with it. So that's kind of like that mixture. Okay, number 3, if you're like, I don't want to use baggies or any of that, fine. Number 3 that was common with teachers was photo boxes or soap boxes. So you know how, especially if you're using like our box centers in the club, or maybe you're using like task cards type things where they're smaller, photo boxes or the soap containers can be great for that. And you can get them at Michael's. A lot of times they have like discounts and sales, or the dollar store sometimes has those soap boxes, and the cards can fit inside. This is great for if you do have a lot of them, storing the pieces to centers and keeping them stored that way, taking them out when you're ready. Or if you just have a few, even, rotating when not in use, but they're great to just take out and let the kids store them that way too, and then they get put back and stored. So they're the perfect size for holding activity pieces. They're not going to hold those recording sheets or anything, but all those little pieces are great to fit inside those. The photo boxes can be a little bit bigger as well, and will hold a bit more. And those are great for, like I said, task cards, or if you're doing our box centers where everything can fit in those are awesome to have. Okay, so next time you're at the dollar store, craft store, Michael's, or any of that, you can just grab some of those. Hopefully your school will maybe they'll get them for you, and you can just use a label on the top, Sharpie, whatever, to write what they are and have it stored away. Okay, number 4. This system did not work for me, but some teachers love it, and that would be a binder system. So if you are someone who's like, give me a binder and some sheet protectors and I'm on it, this will be for you. So you could do sheet protectors and a binder, and you could slide the activity sheet and the pieces into the sheet protector. Now we have pictures of this on our post, and we'll link it to you below in the show notes. But then you could have a binder, let's say, for each month of your centers. You could have a binder by theme, however your brain likes to sort them, by holiday, by theme, by season, by month. And then you just flip through, the recording sheet is there and the pieces. In theory, I love this idea. Like I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a binder. And then just my personality and like style just did not keep up on it. And then they just kind of became a little bit messier. So it wasn't quite the one that worked for me, but I really do love the idea. And I think for many teachers, it would work really well, because then everything's in one spot. You can just store away the binders in a cupboard and pull them down. My pieces, my recording sheet, it's all there. So it is an awesome idea, and check out the pictures for that. See how that feels for you. Maybe give it a try. Now, you might be more like me, number 5. I'm more of like a box type of person, because I can dig through a box a little bit, see what's in there. I know I can contain it in a box, close the lid, put it away. So it's clean, but I don't have to have like too perfect of an organization system. So it worked well for me. And that is monthly or themed boxes. So you could have, I liked even just having season ones, right? Because sometimes the months, they go so fast in our classroom that I'm like, wait, I'm still doing January centers, but they still work for February. Like, I'm not ready to have to switch out the whole thing. So season ones worked really well for me. So I knew like, oh, my winter centers, they're all in here. Great, they're in this box. And within the box, you might have Ziplocs or sheet protectors or containers or whatever, but I knew they were in that box. Okay, so it really helped me, whether that's a big like Sterilite or whatever brand, like plastic bin, maybe it's a cardboard bin, paper, but like I'm not picky about the type of box, but storing it away was easier. I only needed like 4 versus a lot of binders, a lot of things like that. Put the lid on and put it away, out of sight, hopefully not out of mind, but then I could easily grab it. Okay, so I hope that this inspired you a bit to think through, like, is your center system for when you're not using centers, is it working so that when it's time to switch them out, you're not stressed out about it. You're not like, where are those centers again, right? Hopefully this helps. Be sure to check the show notes to go to the blog, see some pictures of these in action, and make sure that you're staying up to date on all things centers so that we can help you out and help this be an awesome year. Okay, I will see you in the next episode. Happy teaching.